Hey guys, it's Ian here, Fantastic. I just want to talk to you today about Stalker, the sci-fi role-playing game. Can you see that? Yep, by Burger Games. Okay, so the name of this video is No Excuses, Just Play the Game. And the game we're talking about, I just showed you, Stalker. So the reason you shouldn't make any excuses about playing the game is the game is actually very easy to play. You just need to have a game master who owns the book, who is interested in running the game, probably might know a little something about how it works. The trickiest part for you would probably be character creation. It's pretty useful to have the book handy for that purpose, just because it lists all the different abilities and what attributes that they apply to. But you can make up more abilities as you wish, and Game Master can easily walk you through that. So you can either do character generation in a pre-game hangout, or you could get a pre-gen character as well. I've done both of these in the past. So really, not having the book isn't a good excuse to not play the game. Resolution in the game is very simple. It's just a matter of you have an idea and you role play your execution of that idea. The game master evaluates and gives you a score on both your idea and your role play, which is usually between a 1 and 5 on its own. If you have a particularly high attribute score, which your attribute scores are increased based on how many abilities you have in those attributes, you might get a bonus. You might get a +1 to either your idea or your role play, one or the other usually. You might also get bonuses like to your idea. You get an idea to your bonus because your idea is just really, really good. It's much better than the idea the GM had in mind. For example, might give you a bonus. You can also get negatives though too, so you want to be careful. If your idea really, really stinks, it has several fundamental flaws to it, you might get negatives to that as well. So it can work both ways, but essentially, as Chepe pointed out to me when he introduced me to this game, the game's ultimately the mechanics are kind of about bullshitting your way through a situation. You're trying to fix a car. You simply have to come up with an idea as to how you're going to fix the car, and you have to role play convincingly to the GM how you're going to execute this idea. And as long as you can do that, then the GM gives you your scores. Now let's just say it's 1 to 6 once you throw in the possibility of modifiers there. So you have, somewhere between a 1 and a 6 on your idea and a 1 and a 6 on your role play. You multiply those two numbers together and you get a result somewhere between 1 to 36, let's say. Now there's a list in the book of difficulty kind of ratings, challenge ratings as it were. A 2 is a very, very simple task, which usually doesn't even require resolution to resolve. A 30 is considered a task which would be near impossible. Of course, somebody has done it before, but it's outstanding if you can do that. So that's your basic resolution of anything you're trying to perform in the game. It's a diceless game. I didn't say that earlier, but if you're doing a opposed, say like an attack or something, for example, there again the challenge ratings also apply to enemies. So whether it's like an injured person or a child, it might be as low as a 2 in their challenge rating, whereas a highly skilled guard or fighter might be up to even like a 25 or something, or even a 30 if it's like a super stalker like yourself or something. Possibly, it'd be very unlikely to get that high of a challenge rating, but still, that's what you're going up against for your opposed checks, like combat and things that sort. Or if it's a PvP scenario, it'd be you and the role and the other player, which I had in my most recent Stalker game, and you just determine their scores together. And ultimately, there's no hit points. So especially, I'm using combat as an example, but that's probably one of the most frequent examples when you need a resolution mechanic. So say this guard is trying to or say you're trying to kill the guard. Sorry, let's say you're trying to kill the guard. Your score either beats his challenge rating or it doesn't. If it doesn't, then you didn't succeed in killing that guard. If it does succeed, you killed the guard. That's it. There's no damage rolls or hit points. Does he get a chance to survive? The only way you can survive something that should kill you is by spending a hand of fate. And you do that by burning a point off of one of your ability scores that applies. Now, unlike games like Shadowrun, this burn is not permanent. It's usually session oriented. You do get the point back eventually, but there's a limited amount of times you'll be able to do it. And if you don't have points in the attribute that the game master thinks applies to the situation, you don't have any points to burn, so you just have to suck it up. What else is there really to point out in the game? The setting itself, like I said, it's very evocative, very fantastic. It's set in our world. It's set on Earth, but it's set 13 years after an alien visitation, and the zones where the aliens landed around the world have become alien themselves. The laws of physics no longer properly apply. Reality is breaking down. There's distortions in time and space and weather and everything else. And the aliens who just landed here spent a night maybe and then took off. No real interest in us or our culture or our civilization or whatever. They left a bunch of their junk lying around. So this alien technology lies within these zones, and that could be a good source of maybe what's causing all these distortions in reality and causing things to get weird. To put it in Lloyd's words. There's no real answers to what's going on, why. It's possible that even it wasn't an alien visitation. There's other theories of things that could have been. The general consensus, most people usually kind of, I think, go with the alien visitation idea because that was the idea in the science fiction novel that the whole Stalker phenomenon was based off of. A great sci-fi novel called Roadside Picnic. I highly recommend. But yeah, so these 6 zones exist around the world. They're quarantined areas. The governments of the world have established like a kind of an extra national organization called the Institute for Extraterrestrial Research. The Institute, they govern the zones. So they have guards, patrols, trying to keep people out because, they don't want just anybody walking in and picking up these bits of alien technology and coming out. Not to mention the fact that the zones are highly, highly dangerous and lethal. There are various anomalies in there which can be dangerous to people, lethal even. There are different types of mutants and things of that sort, and what they call inorganisms. All kinds of weird alien stuff that happens in the zones. And it's all very dangerous. So the Institute, they have governance of these areas. It's illegal for people to go in and out unless they're on Institute business, and they have, they're sanctioned by the Institute to do so. And basically that means you, as a stalker in the game, you are kind of an outlaw. You break the rules. You go into the zone to recover bits of technology and sell it for money, etc. That's the primary background of a stalker. That's what they do. So that's what makes your character interesting, makes you heroic, if you want to call it that. Makes you exceptional. Anyway, let's say that. Maybe not heroic. You could be doing it for ill means or ill gains, or you could be doing it for some kind of a really nice reason. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of right now. You'd be doing it for humane reasons or something. Maybe you're trying to make money to take care of your family or your sick child or etc. Or maybe you're just in it to get rich or whatever. Maybe just like living a life of danger. But that's enough about that. I'm rambling now and I'm forgetting my words. Really evocative setting, really easy game to play, doesn't require any dice. It is a dice system, which scares a lot of people off, but again, look at the title, no excuses, just play Stalker. It's an independent role-playing game developed by an indie game designer by, I can't pronounce his name, but Burger Games, anyway, Mr. Burger at Burger Games. Wrote a great game. It's actually not an English native book. It's actually from Finland, so it would be in Finnish, would have been the original language the book was written in. But the translation in English is excellent, actually. I found fewer grammatical and spelling errors in this book, which has been translated from Finnish to English, than I see in a lot of native English written RPGs, to be honest. So don't let that put you off. Go out and support them. If you play the game, get into a one-shot. I can run it. Joshua Duncan Kirk runs it. Ian White will be running it soon, I think. And there's other guys in the group too, which I'm trying to get more into running. There's a few guys who played in my Stalker game at BrigadeCon who had the book but had never gotten a chance to play it, so maybe they'll be running games someday. Mr. Berger himself is in the one-shot group. I'm trying to talk him into running one. Hint, hint, maybe. Maybe not. Or he's always welcome to play in one too. I'd love to have him in a game. But yeah, if you're interested, put it up there. Put a post out. Somebody will run it for you. So don't make any excuses. Just play it. It's excellent. And then if you play it and you like it, go out and buy it. You can get it on DriveThruRPG in PDF form. You can get it print on demand. I think I got mine from Lulu.com. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. I wish I could remember now. Check it out. Look at Lulu.com. I think you can get the print copies there. Really, really excellent quality book too. It's got a nice thickness. It's not intimidatingly thick, but it's got a lot of really good stuff in there. There's some good fiction for the setting. It's got a couple pages of stuff in there to tell you how to create your own weird alien anomalies and things. Talks about inorganisms, talks about the world and what's gone on in it. Talks in depth about character creation and different ideas, inspiration for drawbacks for your character, which are kind of like role playing mechanics that you pick when you choose abilities. When you put abilities into attributes, you get an attribute score based on how many abilities are in that attribute. So your attribute score could technically be anywhere from like a 0 to, I don't know, 5 or more or whatever. I don't know, depends on how many abilities you put in there. But any ability, or sorry, any attribute that you have points in, you can take. You will take at least one drawback in. So those are kind of like role playing mechanics, like similar to what you'd have in recent editions of D&D, with your flaws and things of that sort. But yeah, just play the game. Get out there. If you're interested in it, and you can't find anybody else to run it for you, give me a shout out on the OSG. I'm Ian Christensen. You'll find me there. I'd be happy to run it for you, unless you're a prick and I've already got you blocked, in which case find somebody else to run it for you. But yeah, that's all I can say. One last time, the game is Stalker, the science fiction or sci-fi role-playing game. Burger Games. Play it. Enjoy it. Buy it. Support it. In the meantime, I'll see you at the game table.